Bill O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News, Wednesday, April 13th, 2022. Stand up for your country. It is all over for the Biden administration. They are not going to come back. I don't think it's possible now for the Biden administration to turn things around so that the majority of Americans would have confidence in it or the president himself. And that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. First, the facts, all right? Producer prices. Those are prices that wholesalers and businesses pay for products and services, okay? Producer prices up 11.2% from March 22 this year, March 21. The highest year-to-year increase in wholesale prices ever. Okay, so now all of those prices are going to be passed on to us. The stores, everything you buy. I went to the deli today. Turkey sandwich used to be $7.50 at the deli that I go to. Okay, 10 and a quarter. $7.50 a couple of months ago, $10.25 now. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent or an anarchist or what, it doesn't matter. Everybody in this country pays more money. Working class and poor people don't have much disposable income anyway, and they don't have reserve. So this just comes right out. Yes, there's low unemployment, and that's good. You want a job, you can get a job in America. Okay, but your salary is not keeping up with the expenses. That is the overriding issue in this country. It's way stronger than COVID or Ukraine or even the border. The border is just staggering. But day-to-day expenses are the most important thing for votes. So Jimmy Carter's presidency, those of you who are around, 76 to 80, destroyed by his mismanagement, Carter's mismanagement of the economy. Now, Jimmy Carter was the governor of Georgia. He was elected, okay, because Americans didn't really like Gerald Ford, who pardoned Richard Nixon after Watergate. Ford was far more experienced than Jimmy Carter, but Carter was a good campaigner, and they said, hey, let's give the Democrats a Carter a chance. Carter had no blanking clue about macroeconomics. He didn't understand it. He didn't know what to do when things started going south. Biden's worse than Carter. Biden has no idea about the marketplace, about how everything works. And I'm going to prove that to you. All right, the inflation rate right now is 8.5%. This is incredible. So if it continues this way the next 3 years, 8, 16, 24, add 150, 25%. So the dollar you have now in your wallet is going to be worth 25% less if this continues in 3 years. 25% of your whole portfolio, of your worth. Okay? And is it going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen, but things are getting worse. And you know what Biden says? It's Putin's fault. Putin did it. The Putin price rises. I don't think there's anybody. Honestly, if they were honest, and they're not, the left isn't honest, generally speaking, buy that. Okay, so this is catastrophic, and that's not hyperbole, for the American workers and the poor. Catastrophic. And the Biden administration will try to give away more money to families and the poor to try to get the edge off, but that'll cause more inflation. More money they print and give away, the higher the inflation goes. That's how they're going to try to save themselves. But it's all going to ground to a halt in November, when the Republican Party takes control of the House and Senate, which it will. Because people aren't going to be voting for the Republicans, they're going to be voting against Biden, just as they voted against Donald Trump. Nobody voted for Biden. It was either pro-Trump or anti-Trump. Now it's going to be, I don't care who's in there as long as it's not Biden. And things are going to get worse for Biden. This Hunter Biden thing, that's not going away. The border thing, after they lift the COVID restrictions down there, that's going to explode. I don't know what Putin's going to do, but he's hanging on, hoping that the Biden administration collapses. All right, which it might. Now, what does that mean, O'Reilly? What does that mean, the Biden administration collapses? It means they can't govern at all. And that will happen if they lose control of the House and Senate. Biden will never get anything passed, nothing. So for 2 years, he'll sit in the White House. You're not going to get him out of there, although I think he may be impeached over the border, but he'll never be convicted. You'll never get 2/3 of the Senate to boot him, okay? But he'll be there, and he won't be able to do anything. And every executive order he writes will be challenged immediately in the federal courts. And as it gets up to the Supreme Court will vote against Biden. Though he's going to be just there. He might just move to Delaware. If they lose in the midterms, the Democrats, Biden might just move back to Delaware because he's not going to be able to do anything at all. So that is the big picture, and that is the Talking Points memo. Now, let me give you a little comparison. And again, this is not ideological or party. Donald Trump, President 2020. Okay, that's fair, right? To compare 2020 to now? Okay. The producer price average, which I just told you is in a record jump, back in 2020 was minus 2.8%. That means prices were going down. Can you believe this? Biden, it's up 11.2. Under Trump, down 2.8. I always tell you, please have a pen and paper so you can write that down. I'll tell you for the third time. Biden, producer price index up 11.2%. Last year at Trump, down 2.8%. Prices going down. All right, do you think anyone knows that? Did you know it? Be honest, did you? No, you didn't know it. I didn't know it until my staff researched it because it's not reported. So how would you know it? You're never going to hear that. Okay, that's the producer price indicator. Inflation, all right, 8.5% now. Last year under Trump, 1.2%. 8.5% now, 1.2%. 16 months, it goes from 1.2 to 8.5. It's all Biden's fault. 100% his fault. No one else to blame but him. Okay. So, what's the big difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden? Take ideology out of it, please. It bores me. Trump is a problem solver. Why? Because it reflects on Trump. If he does something that works, it reflects on him. He solves problems. He solved the border problem, took him 3 years, but he stopped it by and large. Okay? Didn't have any trouble in Afghanistan. Didn't have any trouble with Putin. Didn't have any trouble, well, I shouldn't say that. China was annoying. So Trump understands business. He's a businessman. All right? And he sees something, and they solve it. Larry Kudlow was his main guy. Larry Kudlow was a genius. All right? Now, Biden, who's he got? Who? No one. Because they're all hired on the basis of skin color or gender or whatever it may be. He's not looking for the best and the brightest. Okay, so the ability to solve problems was Trump's strongest suit, and that's what we did in the Trump-O'Reilly history tour. All right? If you know of one problem, just one, that Joe Biden has solved in 16 months, please email me, bill@BillO'Reilly.com, bill@BillO'Reilly.com, name and town, please, because I don't know of any. and I'm trying to find one. Just one. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in America. I am an AMAC member, and you should be too. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits, insightful takes on today's news, and a magazine full of uncensored content that you will not find anywhere else. Most importantly, AMAC is working tirelessly to preserve the freedoms enshrined and secured by our Constitution. AMAC has become one of the most impactful organizations in America because more than just talk, AMAC gets things done. They are pushing back against the efforts to defund our police, weaken the borders, and replace your freedom with government control. But they need your help. Stand with me and more than 2 million patriots and join AMAC today at amac.us. That's AMAC.us. amac.us, and tell them O'Reilly sent you. Let's bring in Russ Vought. He is the former director of office management and budget under President Trump right now. He runs the Center for Renewing America. It comes to us from Washington, D.C. All right, make any mistakes in my analysis up top here, Mr. Vought?
No, I don't think you have.
All right, so it was clean. It was a clean analysis. No factual errors, no hyperbole, no exaggeration, no ideology. Is that correct from your point of view?
I think that's a fair way to put it.
Okay, now, obviously, I'm reflecting well on you and the Trump administration, so everybody should know that. How did you keep inflation under control?
Well, I think you raised a great point when you said that the president was constantly assessing this at all times, and he had a team that was. You know, he liked to refer to people who had a feel for these things and was not ideological when it came to the fundamentals. And, you know, that's something that there's no way we would have experienced the last year, where the beginning of the Biden administration, people like me, but also people like Larry Summers and even Jason Furman from the Obama administration were saying, folks, you got to be careful, Biden administration, if you're going to pass another $2 trillion in spending right out of the gate. And then they didn't stop there. They kept going with their other Build Back Better approach. It didn't pass, thankfully. But what it hid was that the spending that was already underway that they were proposing elsewhere that we just passed is something that was still there. And it was an entire year, both at the administration, the White House, Office of Management Budget, Treasury, and the Fed, instead of tackling a problem that everyone knew was going to be an issue because of the steps that were required to deal with the pandemic and other the situations that we were dealing with. Everyone knew that this could be a problem. Instead of hitting the brakes, they hit the gas, and they tried to spend as much as the country could be willing to give them because they were ideologically committed. And yesterday proves that they are still ideologically committed.
Okay. So Trump had COVID in 2020, top to bottom. And it was worse under Trump because the whole economy shut down. And that is the reason I think he lost the election. So the country and the economy shuts down because of COVID. And then it reopens after the vaccine gets up and running. But still, inflation did not ignite. So you're saying that because the Biden administration printed so much money, gave away so much money, COVID relief funds and all this, which I think it had to do, he had to give away some money for COVID relief. You wouldn't argue with that, right?
No, I mean, I think we did enough already. I don't think that last round was necessary.
Okay, so you guys did under Trump because you were doing targeting too. Now, the other thing that you haven't mentioned, and I didn't mention, was the attack on the fossil fuel industry, the oil industry, which drove the futures, they call them futures, oil market, the price of oil, up worldwide. And when the price of oil goes up worldwide, not just in the United States, then everything costs more, correct?
Correct. Every decision that they have made has been on the basis of their view of the climate catastrophe and anti-energy. Every decision that they make regulatorily. So they have, you know, if we had a rule to get to have a shot clock to make sure that federal agencies decided on a 2-year time limit to make a decision on any infrastructure project. That's one of the things that we were most proud of. They would overturn that. Everything is designed towards using less energy. And so that has been a huge drag on the economy instead of what Larry would talk about, which is a V-shaped recovery where you have this initial shock that we saw in COVID, and then you spring out of it because of your economic growth policies. They have hurt that V-shaped to a great extent, and it's largely because of their anti-energy policy and their overall regulatory structure that's designed to control the country as opposed to let it free and let it grow.
All right, when you mentioned Larry, you're mentioning Larry Kudlow. Give me 2 regulations that were not in place under President Trump that the Biden administration put in that has driven inflation, in your opinion? 2.
Well, I would just give you one of them's the NEPA. So Trump put it in place. NEPA is the National Environmental Policy Act, and it's been in place since Carter. And Trump basically said, we're going to make sure that all of the litigation that goes on as a result of it, we're going to make it so that in 2 years, it may not be a yes or answer, but you're going to get an answer if you're a developer, if you're trying to build something in this country. And they've put that on ice. Similarly, they're working to overturn a major pro-energy rule that we had to deal with that the Obama administration had left us. They were trying to basically do a cap and trade scheme to basically say to penalize facilities across coal and oil exploration. They were trying to penalize that. We got rid of that and had it on the road to being completely gotten rid of. And they are in court trying to make sure that
trying to bring it back.
Their legacy is maintained.
The oil companies and the power companies and all of that, they see this happening and they pull back on production. Do I have it right? They pull back on it, which means that you have to pay more to get your fuel because there's less of it. That's called supply and demand. When there's less of something and you need it, the price goes up, correct?
Yep.
And then the unintended consequence. Right. The
Why am I going
unintended
to put my capital and investment in the next 4 years if I know that this is the environment that I'm dealing with?
Right. And then once that happens, then all of the other food, clothing, products, wood, cars, all of that, they go up because they have to pay more for the energy because everything runs off energy, correct?
Exactly.
All right. So now we know. The last question I have is my provocative statement. It's all over today on April 12th for the Biden administration. He's finished. This new report, 11.2 rise in the pricing index, which means that's coming at us. The consumer's going to have to pay between now and the end of the year, all of that. So prices are going to rise. My turkey sandwich, $10.25 this morning, which used to be $7.50, it's going to be $14 by the end of the year. Is that accurate? Is my prognostication accurate?
I believe so, and I want to say what yesterday was important because it takes it. So the American people, no one believes that this is the Putin price hike, and so it takes something that they're already ticked off about and just makes them bitter towards the White House for them to think that they are that stupid that they're going to fall for a line like that. It'd be one thing if you blamed the Fed and said this is their problem to solve, but no, to insult their intelligence, I believe, is the kind of thing that takes them from frustrated to bitter and pissed off and go to the polls and put the new people in charge.
Folks are angry now. All the polls show that. Mr. Voigt, thanks very much. We appreciate it. We hope you come back. And it's a very sad situation for this country. The war in Europe is a kind of chaos where foreign identity thieves love to target American homeowners. The crime is home title theft. It is exploding in the USA, and no, you are not covered by homeowners insurance or common ID theft services. The problem is the title to all of our homes kept online. An identity thief knows his big payday is as easy as forging your signature stating you sold your home to him. Now he'll take out a loan and another loan against your home, and you won't even know it until the collection calls start or you get an eviction notice. So how do you protect your home from title theft? Register your address at HomeTitleLock.com to see if you are a victim already. Go to HomeTitleLock.com, HomeTitleLock.com. Okay, let's wrap things up with the final thought, as we always do. So everybody asks me, okay, look, why would Disney lose maybe billions of dollars, and they will, by opposing a common sense law in Florida? Why would they do that? It's a little complicated. I'm going to walk through it slowly. The United States of America, we might rename this country to the United Tribes of America. We all are in tribes now. Okay? It's not e pluribus unum any longer. Okay? It's not that. We are tribal. What's a tribe? The Marine Corps is a tribe. All right? Always faithful. Semper Fidelis. That's a tribe. When I worked at Fox News was a tribe. CNN's a tribe. ABC News is a tribe. Your job, if you work closely with your co-workers, it's a tribe. Your neighborhood might be a tribe if you're all involved with each other. Okay? Now, in Hollywood, that is a huge tribe. Everybody's tied in. 90% are ardent, fanatical leftists. We're talking actors, producers, writers. Maybe it's 80%. That'd probably be more fair. 80%. Okay? Disney wants to curry favor with that creative community. They want people to bring products and projects to them. So they virtue signal on the progressive front. It's a business decision. Now, it has gone horribly wrong. And this new guy, I forget his name, who's now the CEO, he's gone. You mark my words. He's out. It was just a matter of time. But the reason originally they got on this train was because they fear, and they do, the Hollywood left. They fear them. And if you don't kowtow to them, they come after you. And that is the same mentality in Silicon Valley, in those social media companies. 80% leftist. And if you don't fit in, you're ostracized. You can't work there. You can't work. If you are a conservative actor or writer or director in Hollywood, you can't work. Couple of exceptions: The Rock, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Clint Eastwood, but they're just so megastar-ish that they're exceptions. But if you're just trying to work your way up, you can't. If you were a Trump supporter, you would be fired. You would out the door. So that's why Disney did what it did. When you see virtue signalers, whether it could be in your own neighborhood, in your own family, they're trying to make themselves feel better. And they're trying to play to a crowd. So if you have a terrible opinion of yourself, as many in Hollywood do, because there are horrible people there. Not everybody. I have lots of friends in Hollywood. But there's a lot of bad people in the movie industry and in television. Television, horrible. They want to make themselves feel better by being for the minority, by being woke, by being progressive. Because inside, they don't feel so good. They know they're bad. But they sell out, mostly for money, some for fame. So that's what this is all about. We live in a tribal country now. It's not we're all pulling for each other. We're not all pulling for each other. Putin knows that, by the way. He knows that America is a very, very divided nation. Okay? And you see it, and it's exacerbated by the media, particularly the news media. All right? So it's black against white. The secularists against the traditionalists, this against Republican, against Democrat, against. Where's the four? That's why I wrote that column about Geraldo and his charity, that Geraldo and I partnered up, and Geraldo will be here on Monday, by the way. We partnered up to raise almost $1 million for autistic people. And he sees the world much differently than I do. But we were able to put that aside didn't enter into my mind at all. When he asked me, I immediately said yes, because I wanted to help. I don't care what, it doesn't matter to me what the ideology behind some of the people in Geraldo's charity is. I don't care. I just want to make the lives of the autistic better. And if we all did that on all fronts, wouldn't we be a stronger country? We would be. Okay, so that is the sermon today. And tomorrow, I reiterate, I am going to have a talking point about Jesus the Nazarene, no religion at all in it, that you're going to want to hear. So spread the word. You'll only hear this on the No Spin News, on Common Sense, on WABC. It's the only place you'll hear anything like this. Thanks for watching tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. Hey, if you're waiting for the federal government to fix our nation's problems, it's time to face reality. The hard truth is, solutions rarely lie in the hands of those with power. Federal government is broken. It's up to us, we the people, to call a convention of states to propose constitutional amendments, new ones, that put the federal government back in its place. Amendments can slap term limits on Congress, curb spending, get the government out of our daily lives. So please join me and my friend Mark Meckler by signing the petition at conventionofstates.com/bill. This is the only constitutional solution that can bypass President Biden and Congress to save our republic in the future. So please go to conventionofstates.com/bill. Join more than 5 million Americans in 18 states already calling for a convention of states. I support the convention because now is the time to end the swamp's tyranny and get our country back on track. Please visit conventionofstates.com/bill.
Bill O'Reilly is back on TV and only on The First. No Spin News, every weeknight at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on The First.